Hello and welcome back to the X-Files Revisited. We are continuing on with season 7 up to episode 13, first person shooter. Now, this one that was talked about in our opening episode as an episode to look out for. So, Brian, can you remind us a little bit about first person shooter?
Yeah. So I think I said in that first episode or somewhere on the lines, I said that this was one I was not looking forward to. I don't remember it being good at all. I think perhaps this is one of those few episodes of the X-Files that I've only ever seen once, because I watched it, thought it was that bad, and I've never gone back to it. A bit like what was it called? I can't remember the name of it. El Chupacabra one.
Those was Beaches or something like that?
No, that was from season 3. Yeah.
El Giro.
El Giro Munda, yeah. Or El Mundo Gira, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very memorable.
Oh, yeah. Now, that episode, El Mundo Gira, actually turned to be a surprise, because we were both, it wasn't a classic, but it was like it's pretty average, like, had its moments.
Well, I mean, we did go into that with you proclaiming that this was the worst ever.
The worst episode ever made. Yeah. So I came into this one with that same adoration. Now the question is, do the rest of the X-Files fandom feel the same way going into this? Curious to know where you're going to stand on this one. I really am. But just purely in terms of where you're guessing the X-Files fandom stand, where do you think this one ranks amongst the 22 episodes of this season?
So this is a low one. This stuck out right from the first conversation. It was a low one. I remember you saying there was something even worse. So I think this is going to be 21 out of 22.
Okay. All right. Then you are correct. Yes. That's the biggest takeaway from that surprises me is the fact that your memory actually kicked into gear there, because
it's unusual.
Not something that happens often. But yeah, you're right.
21. Okay, as for the big picture, I'm going to go 176.
176 out of 217.
Yeah.
You are very wrong. It is 215 out of 217.
Wow. So is that like the 13th worst episode? Something like that, yeah.
No, that is the third worst episode.
Oh, the third worst. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that means the second worst episode is still yet to come in this season.
It's not the worst ever episode, is it? No, it's the second worst episode. The next
second.
One. What's the worst just now, Brian?
Teso dos Bichos.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. Which,
I mean,
again,
many more I would throw up there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The Field Where I Died, Dodd Cam, Fearful Symmetry.
Fearful Symmetry. Yeah, there's a number. There's quite a number. Space. I mean, Space. God, come on, that's Roland. Roland had entertainment value though, just because of how bad it was. But yeah.
Oh man! Wow! Wow! Wow!
Okay, so first person shooter, the third worst episode of the X-Files of all time. Let's discuss.
Third worst episode ever.
So we open up and it's lock and load. It's a bunch of like laser quest, laser tag types, kind of all tooling up, acting
tag
like
bros.
Tag bros, acting like they're super hard and super skilled and like going off to war and bunch of guys that if you actually stuck in proper military suits, gave them real guns and sent them out to a real battlefield, they'd cream their pants straight away and just like, die
These guys
cowardice.
are overly excited, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like, why? It's just a game. Like, I don't think I've ever been as excited to play a game. And I do like games, but I've never been like this looks like somebody. They're so jacked, you could see them punching an old woman in the face. They're just that hyper.
See, I'm not a gamer, right?
Yeah.
There was one time in my life where I got fairly excited about playing a game. That was the first Resident Evil. Me, my brother, and a friend, we really got into it, and we were determined to complete it. But the level of excitement I experienced for that is about 2% of the level that is it being experienced amongst these guys right here. So
they're vibrating. Look.
So there's two people who are monitoring them from like the outside, from outside of this game. They let them in, and then they go in and they gun down a bunch of these bikers. It's like this big kind of empty space with massive buildings on either side. Bikers come down, they get into a shootout. Basically, everyone in this game is like a stormtrooper. They can't shoot for toffee. So it doesn't matter how many bullets they're flying at these guys, none of them get hit. And then they move into phase 2, which is Nazis. Suddenly, like, I want to know what this game is, because this game has got no plot, no discernible plot. There's no common thread between from one level to the next. And later on in the game, we go to a Western world, and it's like this is the most random game ever, and the objective just doesn't seem clear at all beyond kill as many things as you can.
Well, I just love the fact that it's stormtroopers, then Nazis, and that's level 2. Like, how do you get worse bad guys? Like, where does it go? Where does it go from here?
So Nazis again, terrible shots. They're all in the windows. They're firing like submachine guns, not hitting jack. Not a single thing do they hit. One man finally gets hit. He goes down, and it's like his pack that he's wearing kind of gives him like an electrical jolt every time he moves. So that's like to tell him that, no, you are hit. You stay down. That's part of the game. So one guy goes it alone, and he goes into a building after this hot babe who calls herself Maitreya, and then she basically shoots him with an old pistol from like goodness knows when, like a flintlock pistol. So your first style-like gun. But he actually dies. That's your opening.
Yeah, and it's one of those ones where right from the start it's it's a game. Like, there's no subterfuge or that, and it's just all these like college frat bros playing this game. And like you said, like, it was fine, but I didn't feel as if there was going to be much of a interesting through line throughout it. But I suppose we'll get there, because already, like, it's one of those episodes where I kind of know where it's going. It's a Ghost in the Machine type thing.
Yeah. It's literally wears it on its sleeve in the opening scene. You know what it is. You know that Mulder and Scully at some point are going to have to go in there to deal with whatever this thing is. And I just think the costumes that they have to wear when they go in look ridiculous. They don't look proper military. They don't look like anything I would feel comfortable sticking on for the sake of playing this game. I would feel like, for want of a better word, a twat. It's just plain and simple if I had to wear that. So Mulder and Scully show up to first-person shooter offices where they're met with the lone gunmen. They have to do an ID and retinal scan, plus sign NDAs in order to just get in the building. They ask the lone gunmen why are they here, and they basically pussyfoot around what the issue is and said, there's been an unexplained accident, where someone's died in a game. It's kind of shouldn't have happened and we can't explain it, that kind of thing. So, and then after all this pussyfooting around, thanks to a few well-placed questions from Scully and Mulder, we learn that the lone gunmen have a financial stake in first-person shooter. So yeah, they've clearly blown their wad on this game, thinking it's going to be the next big thing. And
but I tell you what, there's something comforting about seeing the lone gunmen appear, and it feels like an episode that they shouldn't be in. But I'm kind of glad that they're here at the same time, because it's not really a conspiracy. It's not anything weird. It's technological. It's games. It's money.
yeah,
They're in here and they don't strike me as the kind of people that money as the driving force behind everything. But at the same time, I'm kind of glad to have them there. I know it's technology and tech's their kind of wheelhouse.
yeah, like they have. I personally think that out of the three of them, Byers is the one least interested in money. But when you look at like the episodes where they go to like Vegas and things like that, I do think that Langley and Frohickey are of the persuasion where that, hey, there's a bit of money to be made here. Let's make some. So yeah.
But I'm glad to see them. Like it's good, and I love the fact that they just kind of pinpoint the fact that they're there for money as well, and the guys are trying to like, yes,
yeah, definitely. So they go to look at the body, and it couldn't have happened. How could it happen? It's a virtual world. How can he have been really shot? It's all digital, and yet. So Mulder asks the female monitor, Phoebe, what they saw on the monitors, and she tells them, hot babe, kind of rocked up and popped a cap in his head.
They straight away they don't really know. They said, "Oh, we haven't seen anything." Then they kind of do the 3D model thing, where they get the city women, and then all the guys are just like, "Ooh, check out her pixels." It's basically it's a 3D like a 3D wireframe. And the guys are all just like drooling.
It's sad. It really is sad. But the thing is, I remember back in the 90s when Lara Croft first hit the scene. And I literally, because I had no interest in gaming, but I had friends who were super into it, and that's what they were like. And I'm like, dude, look at her body proportions. That's not natural. It just looks weird. And they're like, oh. And I never got it. I never really did. It just doesn't make sense to me. I just found it to be quite sad, to be honest. But what was I going to say? I'm sure there was something I was going to say about that. Oh yeah, it was just the fact that they're only doing this now that Mulder and Scully are there. Like there are certain things these guys are doing because they're being prompted by Mulder and Scully. And I feel like, given how intelligent these people are, given that it's them who know these systems, who know computers, I feel like this is all stuff they would have done before Mulder and Scully got there.
I guess, but I will say that some of the smartest people I've known in my life are some of the most stupidest people at the same time. Like, it's like a weird oxymoron where the next level intelligence, zero common sense.
It's like the moment disaster strikes, it's like they stop functioning. It's like, I need somebody to tell me what to do. Okay.
Pretty much, yeah.
So we cut to the control room where Phoebe explains the situation. They use a lot of geek techno jargon to pull up an image of the killer, which is the aforementioned wireframe image. But why it took Mulder asking them to find this, I'll never know. But it's just in that moment we get Phoebe referring to this wireframe model woman as goddess, and that made me cringe something rotten, for multiple reasons. For one, that's not the ideal of a woman. It's a weird kind of bloated, boobed.
But see on reflection though, I'm just wondering if that's because we know later on that it's a character from her game.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm like, is that how she refers to her in her game? Is that her kind of personification in that game?
Yeah, that's
I mean,
that's the way I'm reading it.
Yeah,
but it's just like
she's not looking at that and going, oh, that's a goddess. That's my goddess from that game.
Yeah, but it just, I don't know. It just, there's something just off about this. The way that, in order to feel included amongst the gaming community, which is predominantly men, she creates a character that supposedly no one else is going to see, that looks like the kind of character that all these men she shares the room with would want. And, you know, rather than, you know what I mean? I don't know if I'm expressing myself.
I get what you're saying.
It just feels backwards. It just feels wrong. Like, I'm finding it hard to buy it. I'm finding it hard to go along with it and think, oh yeah, that makes sense. It's just, I don't like these characters, I think, is the crux of it. I don't like any of these characters. I don't like their shallow motivations. I don't like the whole gaming world in which they're immersed anyway. I don't like the way they act like a bunch of jock-strapped idiots when they get around a wireframe model of a big-breasted woman with a rape-thin waist that just looks proportionately ridiculous. It just, yeah. And, you know, and I'm not one of these woke kind of, it's not about that. It just all stinks. I don't like it. Don't like any of it.
But it's one of those episodes where the guys are like deep within guy culture, like all the way through. Like a group of them get together, the brain cell count goes down, and they're all just slithering idiots at certain points. Because you see it, like even when they bring in a woman to interview later on, like Mulder reverts into that motif as well, where he's
which is funny. I'll grant it. It's probably the funniest thing about the episode is the way Mulder becomes a complete douche, and Scully's reaction to it. But so Mulder gives a picture of the killer to a detective. Scully dismisses it as an immature hormonal fantasy, and Daryl Musashi rocks up. There's some famous gamer in the game.
I believe it's pronounced "da man." These guys are like falling over themselves. They are like this guy is more salivating than the wire model at times. They are just in awe, sheer awe.
It's bizarre because I was watching this and so I had a friend when I was in primary school and early high school, and we hung out just all the time. And he was very much into not just gaming, but actually coding for computers and stuff. He was very intelligent. He's one of these like 10, 11-year-olds where you're just like, how do you know this crap? But a few years ago, I was wondering, like literally about 2 years ago, I was wondering how he was doing. And I put his name into Google, and a video interview with him came up, and he's massive, like in the gaming world. He's like, you say his name to anyone on the street, and it's like, who? What? But you go into like the gaming world, like coding and stuff like that. And he's like, he's on this pedestal in this interview where people are like, oh man, it's so weird. I used to go to school with that guy, but it's just. But I was watching this scene and I instantly thought about him because I was just like, Daryl Musashi. Like, no one knows who he is unless you're an absolute game coding geek. And then he's like super celebrity. But I just find it funny that there's no matter what culture you go into, there will be a celebrity in it. There will be a top of the top within that culture, even if no one else outside of that culture gives a toss about it whatsoever. Yeah. So he's the boy wonder of virtual mayhem, according to Frohickey. Scully ain't impressed. She asks Mulder if he wants her to autopsy the body, which I loved. I loved this moment because it's almost like she just wants to get the hell out of there. It's like she's begging Mulder to ask her to go and autopsy the body. Like normally she rolls the eyes and she's like, that's all I'm good for, innit? That's all you want me around for. Every time you get on a case, you want me to go and autopsy this body, go and autopsy that body. It's like I'm a third wheel, and now she's literally going, Mulder, please tell me to go and autopsy your body, please, for the love of God. So,
yeah, no, it's good. I mean, it's Mulder's reaction is almost like a dude bro as well. It's like a point and a click.
Yeah. It's just such a douche. So Daryl plays the game, which we've only seen this game once so far, and that was in the opening scene. We're seeing it now for the second time, and already I'm bored by it. I like this bores me. This is one of the reasons I'm not into gaming, because it's this repetitive. Right, once I've done a level, that's it. I don't want to do it again. And if it's a level that's this mundane, where all you've got to do is shoot a load of bikers and then shoot a load of Nazis, it's just, I couldn't think of anything more boring except maybe golf.
Shooting Nazis at golf?
Yeah. Daryl plays whilst his fans watch on, salivating. But he gets to the same point in the game essentially that the previous guy got to, only this time when she pops up, it ain't a flintlock pistol she uses, but a samurai sword. She chops off his hands and chops off his head.
I got to say, like the hand chopping was a surprise. I wasn't expecting that because the first kind of death's like a gunshot type of thing.
Yeah.
And the guy was definitely not expecting that either. So like, because they linger on those stumps for a little while, and they're kind of bloody and greasy, and then he gets offed. But it's the torturous nature of just letting them look at these stumps for a while, putting them out of his misery. I kind of like that sequence.
Okay.
Sword doesn't make a lick of sense in a first-person shooter.
No, it's like first-person stabber.
Yeah,
first-person slicer.
Yeah,
like the sequel games. Okay. So the autopsy that Scully performs has all the earmarks of a shooting without any of the evidence of a shooting. So, yeah. Mulder enters and she tells him about the game suit. Virtual death. So basically, they've got the game suit in there because they had to take it off the guy. And she talks about how you get the electrical jolt when you're out in the game, so it keeps you on the floor and this, that, and the other. Mulder's like geeking out about it. He's like, it's great tech. Scully said it's wasted on a stupid game, to which, quite frankly, I can only agree with her. Mulder defends gaming of this sort, and now we get to the whole kind of message behind the episode. It's like, do violent movies create violent criminals, and all this kind of crap. So it's Mulder defends gaming as this sort of a way to healthily dispel the testosterone urges, while Scully says it makes them even worse. It just heightens those, and so they essentially go out of the game fueled on that. And yeah. It is that age-old discussion about, does it make toxic masculinity does it make it worse, or does it allow? Yeah, just a load of bollocks.
I think we've seen this topic raised in many movies and TV shows and things. And
Yeah,
I think we've dispelled the kind of myth that it's content that makes people are already like that.
Yeah, I think it's hand in hand. I think the person who's going to be inspired by violence in a movie to go and do it was already pre-programmed to be inspired.
Well, so what's the Scream quote? And I'll say this wrong, but it's like
violent movies don't create psychos; they make psychos more creative. And it's just that's the case. Like if you're not raised properly, if you're not raised to dissect the things you're watching, then of course it might have an effect on you. But the responsibility there lies on the people raising those people, not on the entertainment industry. So yeah. So Daryl is brought in, dead body, obviously in 4 parts. Mulder gets a call from the local PD. A suspect has been picked up, which is quite a surprise to them.
Yeah.
So Mulder and Scully arrive to a bunch of leery policemen officers.
Because everybody's just
hot fuzz.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there was a line when the cop said, I think Scully asks, has she been read her rights or something? And the cop says she was read her rights by like multiple times or something by everyone. So everybody's read her rights. So Mulder walks in and he goes and bites his fist. What a douche!
It is. It's so funny though. It's because you know what they're doing and they're not even doing it overtly. It's in your face.
Yeah. Like all this stuff at the police station, I do find quite funny. I find it entertaining. At first, I'm wondering what's going on here. Has she stepped out of the game? Are we now going to have a villain that is walking around in the real world but able to do computer game type stuff, which, quite frankly, I would have found more interesting.
Can I stop you there? I've seen Virtuosity. It's not that good.
I've seen Virtuosity. I concur. It is not that good. It's terrible. But I think it could be done. If it was done right, it could be done. It could be done well, I think. But anyway, that's not where they go. As it turns out, this is the woman that they chose when they mapped out the wireframe body for the character. So, which I kind of like that bit of detail because that makes sense that they would do that, because they do that today, don't they? They bring people in and they map their bodies and stuff, and so stands to reason they'd go somewhere like a strip club or somewhere to get like we've got to get the absolute biggest breasted kind of so her name is Jade Blue Afterglow.
Yes.
Of course it is.
The second.
the second. She got paid to have her body scanned. She's free to go. Mulder is, and I put in brackets, sexually frustrated. Because he looks frustrated, but I can't tell if it's just regular frustration or sexual frustration.
I like the way that she walks out the cell and he kind of leans to the side and then Scully just leans into his back.
I like that. So that was the best scene of the episode. I'm afraid it's all downhill from there. We go back to first person shooter, where Phoebe is sleeping on the floor after working 70 hours. Lone gunmen on the monitors in the game, which boots up by itself, so Mulder goes to help. This whole scene is like, presumably 5 minutes ago she was awake because the lone gunmen have got into the game, and imagine she was meant to be there observing once they went in. So in the space that it took from them to go down, get in there, she's just lay down on the floor and gone to sleep.
Yeah, and it's like, at first I thought she'd been attacked or something. Like the fact she was just lying there, and then I feel like there's a whole other kind of subplot, or her subplot is fleshed out more, but it's been cut from the episode because I feel like there's more there that we keep just glossing over.
Yeah, I feel like she is the character of the week that we are most meant to identify with, whom the story is really, it's her kind of perspective that it should be from. Yeah. But it's so mismanaged, so badly handled, that I don't feel anything for this girl. I don't care about anything she cares about.
Nope.
And yeah, it just, like, I see the world that she exists in. It's clearly filled with leery men and, you know, like perverts and goodness knows what. But it's like, okay, but you're still choosing to exist in that world.
Yeah.
The episode just isn't doing enough to make me sympathise with her or identify with her in any real clear way. So, but anyway, Mulder suits up, gets suited and booted, and he's all like, "Game on!" And I'm just, which I didn't like, because it's just that facile kind of immature. It
becomes like the characters at the start of the episode,
and
that's not Mulder.
No, it's not. Like, and I don't really feel like this is an out and out comedy episode. Like, I feel like you could get away with something like that kind of attitude from Mulder in something like Dreamland, which is an out and out comedy thing. But here it's like they try to straddle that line between being serious and injecting humor. And when you go to this kind of length with Mulder, where he's like, "Game on," and he's all suited up and he just looks like a bit of a twat, and it's just, nah, I'm not feeling it. So Mulder lays down some suppressing fire so that the lone gunmen can get to safety, but then he pursues Maitreya to get his yayas out, as Scully puts it. Because Phoebe's like, "What's he doing?" And she's like, "He's getting his yayas out." And it's like, I'm with Scully in this, in the sense that I don't like it. I don't really buy it. This just doesn't really feel Mulder to me. It feels like a very forced kind of take on Mulder, just for the sake of discussing the topic of the episode. It's just masculinity and all that kind of stuff. Maitreya attacks with a sword. Then the game disappears and Mulder along with it.
Yeah. Do you feel at any point he's in danger?
No. No. That's the thing. There is no sense of danger in this.
No.
Not at all. Because it's all virtual. It's like, it just, this ain't the episode you're ever going to take out your main character in a series. It's just, I'm yawning at this point. I'm just like, oh, right, okay. It feels like there's a lot of stuff happening where it's like, and it's supposed to be a moment, but none of it is, because you're in the wrong episode. Scully wants to know where Mulder is. The lone gunmen don't know, but Phoebe does. His vitals are still being monitored, and he's still in the game, even though the game is not actually operating. So, which, again, as I say, it's not a major shocker.
No.
Maitreya does some fancy moves and then disappears on Mulder. It's like, it's pretty funny that she's able to just kill guys outright straight away. But the moment it's Mulder in there, it's like, this is the dude who gets his ass handed to him from, people on disability allowance. It's just like, all of a sudden, this badass female warrior in a game who controls the environment. Can't seem to take him down. Phoebe's partner comes in and pisses off Scully because he's all about the money. He's all about protecting the image. He's like saying how news has got out about Daryl dying and stuff, and that it's going to really boost sales of the game. So yeah, Scully's like,
you can see when it tries little things like this, it's trying to put some kind of slant on it, like business over
capitalism and all that. Yeah.
But it doesn't fully like go into it. It's just like this one comment, and then we're going to move on.
Yeah. It's like the episode isn't about capitalism just because you throw a comment in there that is a capitalist kind of ideal. Yeah. It just means that you've got a comment in there about a capitalist ideal. But it's like you're not doing like Darren Morgan does, where every scene is exploring that theme in some way. Was calling attention to it in some way and taking a different slant on it, a different perspective of it in some way. It's just, no, you've just thrown a line of dialogue in there and that's it. That doesn't mean that's what the episode is about. So when Scully mentions Jade, Phoebe runs off and Scully pursues her. Phoebe says she created Maitreya for her own private game. Somehow she's jumped from her computer into this game, and now she's feeding off the male aggression. Phoebe says she can't be stopped, except they'll stop
She will be.
So, yeah. It's just like, I don't care. You know what I mean? It's lame. It really is infantile. And just the love that Phoebe seems to have for this character that she's created in the game. And it's like these days, my kid creates a character on Toca Boca World or Minecraft or whatever, and it's like kids these days create characters on a daily basis in computer games, and then they die a following week later, and it's like, that's a shame. I created that character last week. It just, you know what I mean? It just feels really lame to me. And not just because of the passage of time. This is how I felt back when I was watching it originally. It's just one of the reasons I didn't like it. So Mulder gets his ass kicked after acting all macho. Scully tells the gang they need to download Maitreya from the game and defends Phoebe when they all kind of go on the brutish male attack of her. Yeah. It's like, okay, whatever. Mulder runs and grabs the sword. The world changes suddenly into a Western as we enter level 3.
Yeah.
Which,
again, before we move on to level 3, can I just say that I love that even in the fantasy world of this game, Mulder still gets beat up. Like, not even in a game can he win. If Krychek was in here,
yeah. No.
So level 3.
Gets his ass handed to him. So, which is kind of what we'd expect. But so we're in level 3. I don't understand this game one bit. It's nonsensical. You got tanks in a west. Like, why bother going to a Western environment if there's tanks in it?
Yeah.
I don't know what the objective of this game is. It seems like the lamest game ever. And I can't imagine that it would perform that well, particularly, personally. So he's now stuck in this Western world. The lone gunmen get the game back, but it's on level 2. Mulder looks set for an unfair shootout at the OK Corral when Scully enters and gets in the zone.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the idea that Scully is now going to tool up and become one of the boys. And it's just, all right.
Or become more along the lines of the boys' fantasy women.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
women within these games are,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. It just I don't like any of this, to be honest. Until Maitreya shows up with oozes while sitting on tanks, shooting like a bunch of stormtroopers. Like, seriously, you've got a frigging tank. Like, you've got oozes. How are you not hitting anything? Like, what is the threat level in this game? What's the point of it?
Nothing feels real or dangerous at all.
No. And the graphics on it, the way that they multiply this Maitreya woman, the way that she just keeps coming, they shoot her, she kind of explodes, and then more of her kind of keeps surfacing. Again, it's like, what's the objective here? How many of her are we supposed to shoot before the game's complete? Why does she have tanks and oozes and yet can't hit a damn thing? It's just, why are we in a Western town with modern tech? The people who came up with this game are idiots. Phoebe says she has a kill command, but her partner doesn't want her to use it. And it's like, so you've had this kill command the whole time. People have been dying. And you're just like, yeah, I'm going to hold on to this. So they have a really non-dramatic argument about it before using it anyway. So,
I mean, they don't really have a choice.
No. It's like,
they do this big whole dramatic. We've got the kill code. We're going to punch it in, but it's going to delete everything. And I'm just thinking, any business worth their salt has countless backups.
But it's just like, why are they, you know, just that whole discussion though. They try and make it this big dramatic discussion as if they're ever actually going to decide not to use the kill command.
Yeah.
And it's like, meanwhile, Scully and Mulder are being shot at by the Uzi woman, and none of us care because none of it actually feels remotely threatening. And you're just like, stop discussing it and just put the damn kill command in. Not because I'm feeling tension over whether or not you're going to do it, but because I just want you to get it over and done with, because it's the inevitable thing that is actually going to happen. We know it, you know it, so just get on with it. So they go into the game room after putting the kill command in, and they find a gun just lying on the ground. Oh no, where's Mulder and Scully? Oh, there's only a gun there. The tension. And then the door opens to the little room where you come into the game, and Mulder and Scully are both in there. Mulder's like, that's entertainment. Oh, one of them says that. I can't remember who. It's really lame. And then we have a slow-mo walk with terrible voiceover where they're tooled up. They've got the guns. They're walking off like they've just been in battle.
I mean, you know how I feel about a voiceover, Brian.
Yeah, same. Right there with you. And there's a whole voiceover that I'm not even listening to. I couldn't tell you what the voiceover said. Probably something about macho gamers and things like that. And as the voiceover's happening, Maitreya reanimates, but with Scully's face.
Yeah.
What the actual... What the... So is this supposed to be the computer's way of saying that, it thinks that Scully is the perfect woman, so it's taken Scully's face and put it onto its own?
Yeah.
Like, it feels like, I'll tell you what it feels like. This episode feels like it was written by all the young adolescent boys who voted Gillian Anderson to Sexiest Woman of the World in FHM magazine during the mid-90s. That's who wrote this episode.
Yeah. Yeah, it does feel like a kind of teen boy, college era boy kind of movie.
Uh-huh.
With same sensibilities. And I don't know if they're trying to comment on that and never quite succeeds, but it's definitely right from the opening scene right down to that idea.
Yeah. Right. Wrap up.
Oh, do you want to wrap up this
Go
one,
on.
Brian?
I'll wrap up. I don't like this episode. I just find it infantile. I find if it's meant to make you see the interest or the why people love gaming so much, it doesn't do a very good job of it. Like if you look at a movie like Rush, you understand why people want to put their ass in a car and race it at ridiculous speeds. Same with Ford v Ferrari. If you look at a game like a film like Moneyball, you understand why people get so interested in the minutiae of the talent of the people playing the game, and how this, that, and the other. That's what a good movie or TV episode on a particular subject should do. This does not make me like gaming. If anything, it makes me like it even less than I did, because it makes all the people in the world of gaming seem like a bunch of infantile, like, perverts. And yeah, again, like I say, the game itself makes zero sense. So I don't like the graphics, the way they're used. They seem really flat. I get that that's to be in line with like what a game would be like, but it just doesn't look good for a film or a TV show. I don't like how Mulder's character in this devolves, essentially.
Okay.
I don't like the fact that Scully is just stuck in amongst it with very little to do other than be the strong female character in amongst all this stupid testosterone fueled nonsense. It has some stuff at the start, the interrogation, if you want to call it that, of the woman, Jade Blue Afterglow, the second, whatever. That stuff's quite funny. It's amusing. There's some other little bits in it that are amusing. Certainly some bits of it are easy on the eye. But yeah, that's it. I think I'm being generous here when I give it a 2 out of 5.
Okay. Again, it's one of those episodes where going into it, I'm expecting the worst thing in the entire planet.
The third worst episode of the show.
Third worst. But I don't feel it ever gets there. I think there's some funny, quirky moments in it.
Yeah.
I think it's trying to do something, and I think it's just missing the mark quite a bit. But I never find it as egregious as what you find it. Is it one I rush back to? No. Is it one of my favorite episodes? No. Is it one of the worst ever? No. Like, I can name 10 off the top of my head, and I've got a terrible memory, but I could name 10 episodes worse than this straight away. For me, it's probably a very generous 2.5.
Yeah, like I the episodes we named at the start are worse than this. Dodcom, to me, is worse than
Space.
this. Space,
like you said, Space was a great one.
Yeah, Space is like probably the worst episode, I would say. It's I think it is that thing that just you have to acknowledge it's a bad episode, and if you're just going off averages, then because of that it ends up being bottom 3. But yeah, it's
not good.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, right. Tell me a little bit about Thief.
I would, but I can't, because I can't remember a damn thing about it. I honestly, like, you tell me what's the episode, the X-Files episode, Thief. I'm like, I'm sure once I watch the opening for it, or if somebody just tells me the plot synopsis, I might be able to remember what it is. But right now, just the name of it, I honestly couldn't tell you.
Right, okay. Do you want a quick synopsis of this, Brian?
Go on, give me a quick synopsis, see if anything comes back to me.
Voodoo appears to be involved in the murder of a prominent doctor's father-in-law. Mulder and Scully work to stop the killer who uses hexcraft to exact his revenge on the doctor's family. And the big sort of additional star in this one is Billy Drago. Still nothing.
I've got nothing. Nothing. Dude,
Okay.
nothing about that. Even no, sorry. I'm going into this pretty fresh, I think.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's the first in a while. So there we have it, folks. Next week, Brian and I will be watching this episode for the first time, it seems. So as always, if you wouldn't mind giving us a like or a comment or a rating on whatever podcast service you listen to us on, or on YouTube itself, we greatly appreciate that. It allows other people to discover our passion for the X-Files. And don't forget, look, we do love reading comments, so drop them in there. We'll try to reply when we can. And we'll see you next week for Thief